Okay, and we are live. Let me just see if I can get the link to the VOD here.
Hey guys.
Okay, and we are live. Let me just see if I can get the link to the. Alright, stream audio seems okay. Alright, who wants the ping
Cool.
Scott?
Ping Scott? Oh.
I don't remember if Scott said he was going to make it or not.
Yeah, I shot him a message. Oh, already? Oh.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Alright, so I've got 4 talking points, which is the alchemy, banished sigil / shop, shifting power from bosses to demi-bosses, and state of intermission. Are there any other topics I need to make a note of?
I'm sure we'll remember like one or two along the way.
Okay.
Alright, Salts is going to moan about medic.
So I'm not gonna be talking much because I've lost my voice.
Okay, that's fine. We'll give Scott a minute, and then we'll start, and he'll probably join at some point.
I sound like I'm going through another puberty.
Congrats, Jay.
Thank you.
It's about time.
What? Yeah, you heard how my voice cracked there.
Nice, dude. Yeah, it sounds like you're really sick.
Yeah, I went to a medical earlier this week and they told me I was perfectly fine, but I'm not
Oh,
fine.
of course they do. Of course they do.
What do you mean I'm in?
You sound like we need some beachums.
Alright, so I'll keep my eye out on the Winter QnA chat.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I will too.
Winter
Ew,
QnA chat
anime,
where we're all
hide
going
that
to be.
shit.
Winter QnA chat is what we're going to be focusing on. That's what's going to be streamed. Don't use the stage chat. The stage chat is only going to be used for the, raise hand notifications in the second half of the Q&A. Aside from that, we don't have Firestorm, so we're going to have to be a little bit proactive in copy pasting questions over to the chat.
Oh no. Is Firestorm not available tonight?
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be
No.
able to handle
He's
it.
too busy at the ZE event. No.
Damn it. There goes the Sunrust secretary.
But yeah, unless we're waiting on Scott, we can start any moment. Oh, and we should probably start the event.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Yes.
Let me find the button. Oh, did you start it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Are we gonna get a bunch of people funneling in now?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I hope no one shows up.
No, people are gonna show up. I made sure to advertise in game too.
Why is the first question number 17?
Alright,
Don't worry about that.
alright, Scott's going to be listening in, but he can't. He's a bit busy at the moment.
Okay, all right. So I'll start then. Hello and welcome everyone to the Sunrust Winter Q&A. Today we have me, Professor Drew, Magic Swap, Xerxes, CJ, Reox, and Scott's listening as well, but he's not speaking at the moment. We have a few topics we're going to be going over, just the current concerns and everything. Afterwards, we're going to be answering all the questions that people are submitting using the the Winter Q&A questions link. So if you go and have a look at that, I'll post it in the chat as well. So you can submit any questions you have, and in the second half of the stream, we will be answering them. I'm not sure if we're going to have people on stage yet. We'll probably have to decide that. I prefer not to. I prefer just answering the questions that people send us. I think it's more organized. So yeah, let's get started. So the talking points I have for us, the first one will be alchemy and the state of it, the future of alchemy, more importantly, the banished sigil and the shop, what's happened with it and what will be happening with it in the future, if anything. Shifting power from bosses to demi-bosses. Some of you may have noticed recently that there's been a few nerfs with bosses and trying to buff the demi-bosses, so we'll go into that. And the state of intermission. So how's the gameplay like when the wave's not active? Like, do people have time to do what they need to do, and so on? So, to start off with, on alchemy, me and Rayox, we've already sort of discussed the future for it, and Scott as well. And we think long term, the best thing for alchemy is that all existing recipes will be available to players from the get-go, and that any new recipes that get added, they will be hidden for about 7 to 10 days or so, where players can then have the fun of trying to discover and use them. And then after that period, we then put them in the rest of the list where everyone can see them. So the whole saving of recipes as you craft them, I think that's going to get removed. So some of the UI is also going to get reworked to just be easier to use. So you only want to see all of the recipes that you can craft at the top, maybe some additional quality of life changes. So that's the plan for alchemy in the future. We're going to try to streamline it and make it so ideally you don't need to have a wiki or an Excel sheet open to be an alchemist, because it's not fun. So that's the plan for alchemy, really. I mean, if anyone else has anything else to say on it, I think that's, covered most of it, to be honest. No?
Yeah, I guess that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Alchemy is a very, it has the potential to be huge.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about alchemy.
So,
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So, yeah, that's the future of alchemy. Next on the list, we have the banished sigil and shop. As some of you may know, Magic Swap recently has changed a bit of the banished shop, how it works. So, you can go ahead and explain it better than I can.
Yeah, so we were talking about this for a while now. We wanted a banished rework to make it easier to buy stuff. We kind of had that with the banished token and the banished points, but you still have to leave the Cade. Lots of players, they weren't able to buy stuff past Wave 3 at the banished sigil because, based on the map and based on the current zombie team composition, it could be impossible to reach the banished sigil. So we discussed this last Q&A, but my idea was that you make a pseudo capture point out of the banished sigil where you capture the banished sigil and then you can purchase from within the Cade. And this mirrors the behavior of the banished concept from when we were first developing it. Back when the Arsenal crate was in ZS, it was originally going to be a banished crate that could be packed up and moved. The whole tie-in with alchemy was kind of a last-minute idea. where alchemists can craft an artifact that can be used on the banished sigil to actually initiate the banished arena event, is what it's called. And that might stay the same. It might be changed, but the alternative was to make the banished arena a guaranteed spawn on wave 3. But giving the players agency with the alchemy craft, I think, makes it a lot more engaging. I remember Rayax discussed making it so that whoever initiates the banished arena can get better rewards. And because the banished arena does have reduced rewards compared to the regular capture points. I think there's a case where the banished arena can be summoned when another capture point is active. So
Yeah.
I remember P-Town brought that up. I think I'll need to think about how to handle that.
Yeah.
But right now, if you go to the banished arena and you use that capture point, it's the same as any other capture point. So you get your bounty. I think you'll get the ammo. You just don't get any of the super the control point awards.
Now, does the owner receive anything in particular for initiating it, or is that what you're talking about adding? As
Yeah,
an
that's what I was
incentive?
talking about adding. Maybe the owner can get some banished points or something that they could spend or something like that.
Could be a discount.
A discount would be funny.
I wanted
Just
to
Also,
give him
like-
something when it gets captured or whatever. And
I mean, how useful would a discount even be in the current? Well,
I mean, early game it would definitely be helpful.
So what's going on with the banished token then? What's up with that?
So-
Oh, I think it's just broken right
yeah,
now. I think it just
broken.
doesn't
It was
work
broken.
consistently. Yeah.
It was broken due to an oversight. I'm a bit on the fence on whether or not we should keep it or not, because considering you can capture the banished sigil, if we make
Yeah, it's not really useful.
if we make that
Should remove it. Scott
yeah.
says we should remove it.
Yeah, I'm fine with removing it.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's a complicated mechanic anyway.
we can remove it and we can just use the banished arena, make sure that's more accessible if it's not accessible
No, not the
enough.
sigil. Sorry.
Just the token.
Yeah, the token.
Okay, so remove banished token. And award the owner in some way. Okay.
I brought this up in dev, but I didn't have time to implement it. But the word banished arena makes me think it's like a sort of like a brawling pit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought too.
Maybe we could have some sort of like a. I was almost thinking it could be like a mini melee mode that's centered around the sigil. Like maybe special zombie classes could be force spawned in the perimeter, and the humans have to fight them off.
That could be cool, but maybe not restricted to melee because like gun users benefit from the banished sigil too.
Well, that kind of, because I remember last summer when fishing was first implemented, I wanted to add an oasis capture point where when you entered it, you get a ethereal fishing rod. Which
Yeah.
is just a fishing rod that you temporarily get while you're in the capture point. It could do something like that, and the monsters, the arena spawn, could be AI ads, but I'm getting off track. It may or may not happen. But the rewards for whoever starts the banished arena is will definitely happen.
Okay.
I will talk about the banished ritual is the craft you need to do it. You get sigil powder from the sigil rift, so that's a guaranteed ingredient. The banished fragment is not so guaranteed. I know that sometimes you can get lucky and you get it wave 1, and sometimes you could be like wave 3 and you're still looking for one. But I think it's common enough that, as long as there's a few dedicated alchemists on, it'll be possible to get, but it'll be something to look at.
I think it'll be easier and you'll see it more frequent once those recipes appear to everyone as well.
Yeah.
Because it's only the dedicated few that know of all this stuff, so hopefully we'll open up alchemy to more players after the changes.
Yeah, the buying consumables in the Cade though I think it's a big concern. Because like stuff like grenades.
5 gravity grenades going off and blowing
Yeah.
up.
We have the cooldown system that Rayox added a few like a few weeks ago, and
Hmm.
the fact that more people have access to the banished, it kind of removes the whole, one person hoarding all the consumables, since everyone will have a chance to snag one.
Yeah,
So in a,
I
in a
just
way,
think
in a way, it's worse, but in a lot of ways, it's more manageable.
it's just something we might need to look at.
I think it's just the gravity grenade that's the main one.
Well, yeah. You do get 5 guaranteed grav grenades, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's
People will
4 now.
4 now?
It might have been 4 or 5,
It's
but
4. It's
people
4
will
now.
usually
Okay.
save them until the final wave and just throw one after the other.
Yeah, which also sucks because that's like you get that, then you get the barrier bombs, and you can like
Oh
cheese
yeah, they
out.
spam barrier bomb, all of them at the end of the game as well.
Hmm. Which I mean,
It's
that's when
just
it's most useful. I get it, but like maybe they
yeah,
shouldn't be able to be chained. I don't know.
it's just a ton of throwables. You'll see people save them until the end and then throw everything out.
But yeah, I just think that stuff needs to look at. I'm not saying we need to make a solution here. Just maybe we should
No.
think about it.
Same thing happens with med bombs as well. People just hoard it until right at the end.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about that. I don't know. It's not a huge deal.
The medical powder incident. Yeah, the gravity nades. I remember I was with Edward when we were working on it. It was a favor for Gorma, so one of his SCKs didn't get lost in it either. But we didn't really discuss the top end of damage, so really anything goes with the gravity nade. I mean, the whole, combining damage into one single damage event. That was like a day zero decision that maybe needs to be thought out a little bit better.
And the only problem I have with it is that it can easily be a boss killer, just one. Like against the weaker bosses, and then Big Ghoul, if he's not timing
Yeah,
his
didn't
flex
its
right,
damage
he'll just
against
blow
bosses
up
get
as
increased?
well. And it doesn't feel good as a zombie to just die instantly as a boss.
It's very
Yeah, it does.
telegraphed. It's very telegraphed, but that
It
means that
is.
while it's going off, zombies can't do anything against the barricade. So in a way, it's actually kind of like I want to say it's like an energy barrier bomb, but it certainly reduces the damage Cade is taking.
And it's fine if there's one, but the problem is then when there's one after the other, that puts like Big Ghoul and other bosses out of action for like a minute sometimes. They just have to hide and wait. But yes, it is very telegraphed. But it's usually behind you as well, which you might not notice as a boss sometimes because you're
Maybe you could have
flexing
it.
on the Cade.
Maybe you could add an HUD effect, like how like the teleport effect in Half-Life 2 could do something like that.
That would be good.
Yeah,
What, like an
I think that'd
overlay?
be okay.
Yeah, an overlay.
Yeah, and make it so that the particles are mandatory, even if you have particles off.
Yeah,
I believe
that'd
it
be
is,
nice.
but the primary sphere is a C model, which maybe I need to check the code. I'm pretty sure it gets drawn every time.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the sphere is drawn, but I think an overlay would be perfect then.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that sort of wraps up the banished stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, the
So,
weapons are fine.
oh yeah,
Because people do bring it up a lot. Insanity is staying. Um, I know we were back and forth about removing Insanity, but the whole banished capturing event is kind of the justification for keeping Insanity, because instead of competing against map placement and Insanity effects, now you just have Insanity effects once it gets captured. Um,
yeah.
Lethal Insanity is still disabled. Um, I know there were some people who like it to be brought back, but there's a lot of back end networking issues that need to be fixed. So if they
I
do
feel
come
like
back,
we'd almost need them to volunteer into that.
if they
Well,
do come back, if they
you
do come
technically
back, we'll
do.
make sure that the old bugs are gone. Um, the big
If there's
game is
bugs.
fair.
Big game.
Yeah, the primary
What are the
reason,
bugs?
The first game.
So the primary reason lethal insanities were removed was because there's a big issue with Wave 6, Wave 5, when networking is through the roof. you don't get the lethal insanity effect on your client, but the server is still
What?
simulating it. Like the net message just gets dropped or like delayed by like 30 seconds.
Okay, tuna eaters don't eat the tuna on wave 5 and 6.
So the knives, they'll appear on the server. You won't see them on the client, and then you just suddenly die.
That's hilarious.
Unless you're really lucky and you were crouching. Same with the lasers. Same with the big game. The big game less so because you get like 30 seconds to wait for the big ghoul to like kill you, whatever. Was there another lethal insanity? Oh, the zombie spawn teleport, but that was removed.
Yeah, that one's kind of funny.
That was removed.
That was
like
that was,
it's just visual right now. It doesn't actually teleport you.
It was really
I would
fun.
like to bring that back.
was really
though.
fun.
I sometimes
It was
forget
good
that it's
teleport.
visual, and I'll still like spam shift. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I think that one also was a bugged one where the server would drop your net command to cancel it, and
It was mandatory. That's
and
hilarious.
I think I'm not sure, but I think that your teleport skills affected it. So if you had rapid transit,
Rapid transit users. Holy shit, that would be so funny.
but yeah, that's it for insanity. It's gonna stay the same as it is right now, but we might do some more stuff with it. The curse.
Oh, some should probably be reduced because some of them are like extremely long. Like there's one that's like one of them is like a flashbang effect kind of. And it's like 20 seconds.
I was going to say it might be interesting to have insanity effects be more of an active thing instead of just passive, like you just have them. It's just like when you're doing the arena thing, like having this insanity effects during that, or if you're, let's say if you're away from a sigil for X amount of time, you start getting insanity effects.
Wait, away from a sigil. I don't know. That would impact some players, but not impact a lot of them.
The roamers.
It's the easiest way to counter roamers.
I'm not saying it's the only way to have it, but just having that as a potential feature.
The
You're away
banished
from
arena
sigil.
actually does trigger insanity effects. While you're
Yeah, it
capturing
does.
it'll trigger insanity effects to a lot of funniness that happens.
Oh, apparently the underwater effect lasts nearly a minute.
Oh yeah, it does. It waits until you run out of oxygen, and then it kills you, or like does a little bit of damage.
I mean, but it doesn't
The
really
duration of
it's,
insanities, are they affected by trinkets or anything?
No, I don't
Nope.
think so.
No.
Okay.
The occult packs, yeah, I don't think those are coming back. They're way too punishing.
The insanity effects were reduced before, and playing through them. I mean, I play with insanity effects occasionally, and I think they're fine. The underwater effect, the only problem with it is the fog, and I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think they're okay. Cool. So, shall we move on to the next topic then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so something relevant for this week, especially, it's the shifting power from bosses to demi-bosses, a topic that we have brought up multiple times, but I think recently we're trying to be a bit more active, as well as I'm trying to be more active on this one now. And what that means is also decreeping certain bosses. So, like at the moment, Dread Knight got one of his buffs reverted, but he's still really powerful. And I think Drew might be cooking up another nerf for that. Big Ghoul
tonight.
as well. He got one of his buffs reverted because he didn't need it. Butcher got his passive rage reverted. I honestly think Butcher's in a pretty good spot. Nightmare as well might be too harsh with the slow, but it's just looking at some of these bosses right now. What are the most oppressive ones, and what can we do to reduce some of that power, but still making them good? And then going towards the demi bosses and seeing, like, because the Dark Essence cost got doubled, and sometimes it might not just feel like it's worth purchasing them because they don't feel like they have enough impact. Like, I think Cold Marrow's fine, Chem Jug's fine.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the more tanky ones are good, but like
Prime
Parasite
Goal's good too.
sometimes. I mean, Parasite can sometimes kill people really easily, but other times, like if you're going against the wrong player, you're just gonna die in 2 hits. And like
Parasite's trash.
Skeleton Warrior was a bit too tanky, and I wanted to make him more like anti-melee. Like that's how Darker designed him. So
Hmm.
looking into like buffing him in that way, but not buffing the tankiness because I think they all have okay health pools. So, and
Yeah.
again, it's like with certain events where you get certain people that absolutely dominate the game as bosses and have too much control. And this comes back to like it's both a human and zombie thing as well. Like certain players can sometimes have too much control of the game, and that can make it unfun for a lot of people. And we want to avoid that happening on both sides. So that includes also, bosses and what can we do to just make demi bosses better and give more people a fairer and fun chance to play something stronger. So yeah, I think that sort of sums it up really. Just
Yeah.
tone down bosses where they need it, where they got power crept, because we've been decreeping humans, so it's only fair we do both. And try to buff demi bosses that need it in the right ways, where like we're not just gonna end up like getting the humans steamrolled because of these buffs at the same time. So, you know, that's where my focus has been recently when
Yeah.
I'm taking like breaks from all the alchemy stuff too.
I feel like it's very
It's a
population
delicate
dependent.
balance.
It's very
Yeah,
population
it's
dependent
population
too.
dependent too.
Like the health scaling formula. I think we're all a bit sore from the whole 32 comets of nothing, but it's not perfect, but it is pretty much the best we have at the moment.
Of health scaling.
It's something I hate dealing with because it's not like if you want to make a really targeted change and you tweak health scaling, it's like taking a sledgehammer to just whatever you're like. It's
Yeah.
the entire game mode that's going to suffer for it, and it's something that like players play the game, they expect it to feel that way, and it like changes the way that everything feels, and it makes all the guns feel different, all the weapons. It's difficult. But when it comes to demi bosses, I think it's a difficult balance too to strike because you don't want to make it so that if they just stack a bunch of demi bosses, they immediately plow through the cave and everybody loses. But
Mm.
also, um, as a zombie, I think like it's more fun when demis are stronger and like players feel
Yeah.
like they have more agency because there's a lot of people that are like, oh well, I didn't get boss and like I didn't get boss, so the game is lost, and this guy sucks, he doesn't know how to play the game, and it's like. It feels horrible when that happens because for humans it's like, well, you just get a really easy game, and for zombies it's like, well, you can just get to pin all the blame on the boss, and then
Yeah.
that's it, you just lose.
The
And
synergy
that's
is
something
nice
that I
to
always want to avoid. Yeah,
the synergy is
having
nice
players
too
working
because
together.
you have chem juggernauts who severely like help out by applying potentially very early chem effects on Cades. They can do with AoE chemical damage earlier than when the normal classes unlock. The cold marrow definitely helps when DPS is really high on the human team.
Well, Prime Ghoul has buffs like Howler gives out, which I think is super interesting and I always like.
Mm. Yeah, I think Practical's okay.
Yeah, I think he's good. Honestly, I want bots to play him more.
I think it's just more the assault classes can not feel worth it sometimes to use. So,
Yeah.
because I think the
Well,
support
well, Gonome is really good.
Golem's,
Um,
yeah,
Gigagore, I have thoughts about. Well, I think Gigagore's primary weakness right now is that bots sometimes don't attack when playing as him, which
I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah, I'm still figuring that one out. I did some work on it yesterday, and I think it's something to do with the length of one of their traces, but I'm working on it.
Oh yeah,
I think I've
Gonome.
seen bot Golems too, just like run at players and just get confused sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes they
the
do. Sometimes
Gonome
they like slaughter them.
the Gonome's the Gonome does have a pretty high view offset, so it might not be optimized for
Oh,
the
it's the
bot mode.
yeah. Now that you say
Oh,
that,
maybe
it's
it's the
probably
really
something to do
tall
with the view
ones
offset.
then.
Oh, I also have to mention something about the Gonome, but its hitboxes are a little bit bugged.
Oh yeah.
Its hitboxes still use the gold source ones, so they're actually
Oh,
so that's
it's not.
why it doesn't have a headshot hitbox or a leg hitbox. It's like the old wraiths. So I think if I find wherever Troop put the files, I'm gonna make it so that it has a headshot hitbox again. But that'll also mean it has leg hitboxes again, which it'll be interesting to see.
I mean, if you want me to, you can send me the files and I can like make custom hitboxes so it doesn't have leg hitboxes. If you want to go down that route.
Make it so I can shoot it with the tiny slug.
You're a slug.
But yeah, if you add a print to the code for like what hitbox it hits, like Source uses like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gono is like, 101, 102. It's really weird.
So yeah, we're looking at, shifting power from bosses to demi bosses, like I said, and the concern about link ups. One of the things I've done as well is reduce the demi boss cap from 5 to 3. So instead of having 5 cold marrows, you're now limited to 3. I initially wanted to drop it to 2, but I'm leaving it at 3 for now, and then just going to buff some of the demi bosses that need it and just see how that goes, really. But I think just like originally, I hated the idea of capping classes in that. I didn't like it, and then I went down the route of just scaling demi bosses depending on how many of the same type are near. But now I've just sort of accepted it that you have such a high pop server. It is a necessary thing to have to avoid link ups that can just destroy games. So I'm fine with just keeping the cap now.
Did we ever discuss making the cap population dependent?
I actually was
CJ's
just about to
brought it
bring that up.
What I suggested.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking, because I think like when more than, I don't know, 25% of the team is demi bosses on like 80 players or whatever, like that's really good. I don't like, there's certain places where class caps are always good, don't get me wrong, but like there's certain places where it's like, okay, so we added another demi boss or we shifted demi bosses around. It's like you can have more of those yellow names on the scoreboard,
definitely
and that's strong.
It's definitely a multivariable problem with that route, because at high pop you have the health scaling on the demi bosses plus the population scaling on the class number, and at lower pop you have less health scaling and.
But if you compare like 2 cold marrows 50 pop and 2 cold marrows on 128 pop, it's not the same.
Yeah,
like,
what if those cold
they're gonna get
marrows
melted.
what if those?
Yeah, they're gonna get shredded.
Honestly, demi bosses at lower pop do suck.
Do they?
Not
I
really.
don't play low pop.
Yeah, but is that a question of their health scaling, or is that a question?
It is.
of,
It is health scaling. Demi bosses are not worth it at lower pop.
Maybe health scaling is worth a review.
Like, I know earlier I was trying to kill a roamer parasite, and I got like 3 tapped.
Well, what kind of impact do we want demi bosses to have?
So
It should be scary.
So the problem with increasing health scaling to match with like the wall of 50 guns aiming at you in a cade is that the more health scaling you add, the more their single target effectiveness goes up. Their single target effectiveness goes up way faster than their cade effectiveness. And honestly, I think a solution to that might be to limit the amount of damage they can take in a set number of frames.
We did that with Shade.
Did we?
Yeah, with the Shade. I was going to bring up that's how the Shade works.
That was a pretty not great idea, because the thing is, like, then you have to decide, like, this is the max DPS human team can do. Because, like, it's not only that the demi's taking that much damage, it's like any damage past that point is just gone. So they can tank, like, insane amounts, even with, like, a really high DPS limit. So I don't know. Maybe if it's like super generous, like one shot protection, like we had for the Violator, maybe. But but it is something that is very difficult to balance, and it can lead to situations where it's like, yeah, like where humans just are dumping like DPS into the zombie, and it is impossible. They just lose out on that.
I would say it's worth a try on one demi boss. Like one demi boss can be given the gift of DPS limit.
Well, should we have class bonuses then, and define what a demi should do, or any zombie?
Well,
because think about like Overwatch does that. They have like tank bonuses, DPS bonuses, and support bonuses.
Give a bonus based on the category?
Yeah,
actually that would make the categories have more meaning than just, because right now I see the categories as just words.
Yeah, like we have designated tank zombies, designated like DPS zombies, and designated support zombies.
I think that makes it a little harder to balance, though. Like, Because like,
Well, you would define what a zombie does, and that's their characteristic, like their baseline buff that they get.
You can also change like what those buffs or like special abilities are. Just
Yeah,
tweak them.
that might be a direction to help for that. Like actually define what a zombie is, rather than just leave it up to interpretation and give them everything.
yeah, well, I definitely don't want to give them everything. That's something that I'm always cognizant about with bosses and demis and stuff. It's like, gotta have a weakness, gotta have a strength.
Over time, they've kind of just gotten everything, though. Some
Yeah.
classes have just gotten tacked on abilities, or
Yeah,
like
and the same thing
parasites
goes with
in
weapons.
Hero.
You know, I try to give every weapon a flaw. I love the tiny slug a lot, because I think it's a flawed weapon, but it's very good in the situation where it's great. And if you can't get that situation, you know, if your aim is off, or you're like in the middle of combat, it's like, yeah, I can kill like one zombie, but the next one's gonna get me. So you do have downsides and weaknesses, and you have to play around those. I like stuff like that.
Yeah,
I always try to balance
like
towards
what
that.
Darker One said about weapons, that like weapon stats can be thought of as like a triangle, and weapons usually excel in two of them, but really lack in one, as a way to like differentiate them. Which I think more of
Absolutely.
it's like more of a pentagram now when you think of build ups and all that other bullshit.
Yeah, an AOE versus single target. But yeah. Do you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, the conclusion from that is we're looking at ways to improve Demiboss power without, we're trying to avoid the consequences of that from like link ups and stuff and, one-man army Demibosses.
I think
So,
the objective would be to like find like a amount of time that a demi boss should be surviving in front of like a Cade when they're attacking or something like that. At least the destruction ones, and try to meet that
yeah.
goal.
So I
If-
made a note
yeah.
of that as well because, like on the Sunrust one, it is organized. Well, I guess in the classic one too, where you do have destruction, assault, and support, and maybe taking an idea from Overwatch where the destruction ones do get something like a passive bonus tanky thing, and then give the assault ones something better to deal with, like people outside or whatever. So I made a note of that as well. Next topic, state of intermission. And what I mean by that, in my opinion at least, is I think there is too much to do during the intermission.
There is a laundry list. You have to push out of the cave, kill the zombies, go to the capture point, get to the sigil rift.
It is a
There's no
chore.
capture point.
Yeah.
Get your
Run an errand.
scythes, get your scythes out, gather the herbs, gather the trees.
Take the ammo from the ammo cache.
Yeah, get
and
the
then,
contraband from the
Don't
ammo
die to the
cache.
intermission link up.
Yeah.
there's too much to do. And
Get props.
my
Buy your
initial
shit.
plan is so the ammo cache, I want to rework that to be a control point instead. The ammo cache was created before sigil rifts existed, and now the sigil rift does what the ammo cache does already, which gives you ammo. The herb
And
bushes, that's just a winter seasonal gimmick, to be honest. I don't know what's going to happen with herb bushes after December, but it's another thing that I need to repurpose or do something else with. Humans already struggle sometimes to, push out from the zombies laying an ambush in that to get to
Actually,
the
I have a
rift.
pretty good idea for herb bushes. We can make it so that it dynamically spawns around sigil rifts. Like just fire a few traces, see if there's open areas in the spawn herb bushes
Yeah.
of the sigil rift.
I think that'd be okay if we just
Yeah, that'd be fun.
condense it so the humans have one goal outside where they have to run to, or two or three, because we have multiple rifts sometimes. As long as anything you need is around the rift, I think that'd be okay to save them time. Because it sucks when you're going for a bush or something and then you realize that the rift is across the map. Well, you're not going to have time to get it. Zombies are going to spawn and kill you.
It also means that humans aren't really organized. They're all going in different directions. They can't really coordinate.
Yeah. I think that's fine sometimes because the whole idea of pushing out is we want to encourage that risk taking and give zombies the opportunity to kill people. And if people want to run around and be stragglers, that's fine. But there's too much to do with only like on average a minute, at tops maybe a minute 20 seconds or so. Because like during the weather effects, the intermission was pushed up to like over 2 minutes sometimes, and that was too much, and I was told to reduce it. So
I think the two steps, like the two steps we should do is make the herb bushes spawn around sigil rifts. Unfortunately, the node system isn't that powerful for that, so you'd have to do manual traces to find, empty space and all that bullshit.
we don't have that many nodes that close to each other.
We don't have
really.
we don't have that many nodes, and we don't have mini nodes
Hmm.
for like nodes of nodes. And making the ammo cache a control point is a very interesting idea to
Yeah, I want to do that where you just stand in it and it's almost like you get a free resupply every few seconds or something,
Yeah.
basically. So that's the idea for that one. So for intermission, we want players to have to focus on less stuff to do, and the main goal should be clearing out zombies and getting to the rift. That should be their main focus because there's too much to do. Even fire trees and stuff. There's a ton of stuff.
Did we want to bring up bounty gain during intermission?
Reox
yeah.
did have concerns for it where top end players with like a ton of DPS could snowball from the amount, because the bounty you get is just based on damage, and it does just make the rich get richer, basically. I don't know. I don't think we came to a solution for that apart from just scaling things back down a bit.
I mean, like if you made it based on hit, then you made SMGs and all that other shit more effective at farming bounties.
It's just on damage, because you just get innate bounty rounds.
Yeah,
for
I'm saying
everyone.
if it was changed to hate, then you just move the problem to another class of weapons.
Yeah, you can't do that. You'd almost have to sort of cap the amount that you could get from the intermission, then.
Maybe like per intermission, like the first few zombies give you full bounty scale, and then it gradually goes down on a logarithmic scale. Oh, Firestorm is back.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe that, or it's like during the intermission for the free bounty gain, you can only earn up to like 1,000, and then after that, maybe it starts to drop off, scale down or something. I don't know. There's a few options. Because that is still like one of the concerns for me is how easy it can get to be just to get bounties. Sometimes players can get a ton of bounties, and that usually leads to balance problems.
And sometimes you don't even need to push out. You get a ton of bounty progress just clearing the remnants of the link up when intermission just happened to start.
Yeah.
From the barricade. So
Exactly.
maybe we could scale it based on distance from the sigil too, but that is it's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Like you wait for the sigil blast, and then all the zombies get respawned in that, and then you just hit them all hard with something, and you get a ton of bounty progress.
Oh, do they spawn on nests when they get respawned? I think they do, right?
I can't remember. I can never remember.
I think they do. Like, I think making them not spawn on net, because like Z-gases already do have
you mean the
like
force
some
respawn, not the sigil.
yeah, the force
blast.
respawn. Or yeah, sigil blast. I'm sorry. Yeah, force respawn. Because that's the thing. Like the sigil blast is one thing, but the force respawn bots, like, or force respawn zombies in general, like they're all in one area. So you just run out there with an AOE, even if they're players.
Yeah. They should
You
only
just-
spawn at Z-gas.
Yeah,
If
I
they
think that would be a
don't,
big
then
boost
it
to
needs
them.
changing. Yeah. The other thing that I added, there was something that I think Darker suggested to me was, when you kill zombies, they drop those little bounty orbs for the killer and the assister. And then, that sort of encouraged. Well, the main reason we added that was because melee players were suffering because all the gunners would just kill the zombies, get the progress, and melee couldn't do anything. So the orbs were added specifically for melee players to get. But yeah, the bounty orbs, they're not very good. Maybe more emphasis can be put on bounty orbs.
Well, also like,
but that then
they're
again,
specific to the player that killed the zombie. So like, you
Yeah,
know,
and the
if I'm a
assister.
melee player and I'm running out there, it's like, most gunners are gonna get the kills or the assists or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like most of them are just red.
Do melee players have
I mean-
a multiplier on the number of orbs generated?
No.
I mean, you said about like it's also for assists. It also gives like someone who assists the orb as well.
Yeah, the assist person gets an orb as well.
Would it be possible to have it so like for medics, if you're healing or buffing someone and someone gets a kill, you also get an orb like as an assist? Because
It would
medics
be
also really
possible.
suffer with getting bounties.
It would be possible, but
You'd have to code a whole thing then.
you'd have
for
to be
that.
you have to have like a
Yeah, that's
last
the
you'd have
issue.
to have a last healed table. And you could look at the
Hmm.
person who last healed that player, but if they're like getting micro heals from people like spread feast and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
you might
it
want
might
to
have to be
check.
something like a tally or something, like the three most.
You have to do something
Prominent
similar to
heal.
like a table
Like,
of leg slows.
How
don't
useful? How
imagine-
useful is that
I
gonna
don't
be for
imagine it'll
medics?
take like I don't imagine it'll take like a
I mean,
ton
medics
of
barely get any bounties, and the main thing that does give bounties, merc gloves.
It's
I'd
shooting people
almost
or
say-
shooting
I'd
zombies.
almost say-
it just gimps your healing.
I'd almost
So
say
you-
just make healing during intermission give bounty progress.
We did
We had
that. That was an issue because like people would just wait to heal people
Oh,
until
then-
intermission.
then-
Yeah.
then-
Or I would get yelled at for like
Then-
dumping spread feast heals into the crowd, and they'd be like, "True, you stole my bounty." It's like, what? I was doing my job. What do you
Are
want me
the
to
work
do?
gloves just not as good? Do they need buffing?
I don't know.
Well, they're great for repair mains. I know that.
Yeah.
Wait, can you repeat that? I didn't.
You know, so the work gloves.
Well, the issue is that medics already don't really make that many points. Like it is a very fine line, and I mean it is that way by design, but it's a trade-off of do you want to get points so you can upgrade your weapon, or do you want bounty progress? And most of the time, the answer is you want to upgrade your weapon. You want to be able to get points to get ammo, and it's
Yeah,
not really
Bounty's
a
like a
choice.
side goal.
Maybe
It's
the
like a
work
side goal for
gloves are
medics.
too.
Like the main way medics, or at least from my experience, that they get bounty progress is by getting the rift.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the work gloves might be too expensive. It's one of the most expensive trinkets, and it already comes with a downside. I
Mhm.
think it should be much cheaper then. So I think just buffing, well, reducing the price will greatly help medics.
Well,
And
Negan's just said about scaling the penalty down on upgrade, so it's not as harsh when you upgrade it.
does the penalty change at all?
No, I don't think it does. And the penalty's kind of harsh.
doesn't, but you get more progress.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. Because it's
But it
sort of
is-
like that because rounds and attachments, the penalty doesn't lessen, but you get more effectiveness. I don't know.
But the issue is that the downside is way too steep for medics. Is
I
the
see.
issue. Like it's not something that's viable to go for because it does really
Okay.
eat into your point gain.
Yeah, I guess the downside is a lot less impactful for repair mains then.
And that's another issue I wanted to bring up, is that stuff like that and the alchemy thing, it's the way they're both tied to it. They're tied to both repair mains and medics. It
Yeah.
feels like it's more of an afterthought for them, and it just gets all lumped together. Whereas like DPS mains get their own thing. And I mean,
Yeah.
medics and repair mains didn't even have a thing for alchemy for a
No,
while.
I added it because the healing thing was requested. And then I threw the repair mains under it too. Because it's just supposed to be like a support thing.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a bit of an issue where, because obviously with stuff like medical essence and repair essence, you can't use them for those things because they're both all lumped together.
That's true. I wanted to just have one type of essence, but I know I discussed this with the Rayox as well, and then P-Town designed it like that, where they're separate. And we currently don't have support for being able to upgrade with either essence. You have to sort of pick one.
Mm.
But in that case, maybe we should just not let you upgrade with either essence then. If it's a shared trinket, and just lower the downsides for medics.
I mean, you already can't upgrade it with either.
You know, I thought you could with one of them.
No,
I'm
no,
thinking of I'm thinking of the work gloves. You can upgrade those, with essence.
I don't.
Maybe.
I don't think so. Because I think
Really?
you can only set it as one thing that you can use to upgrade it. If I'm correct.
Okay, so I've made a
Yeah, I know
note,
that. Yeah.
which is reduce work gloves price because it's already quite steep, but also look at the downside for medics because I think a lot of the time when you like, well, I'm the only person that bundled the healing and repairing trinkets, and initially I just make them the same values.
Yeah, but
So
I
the
mean,
problem with that is that's
25% for medic is a lot
yeah,
more than 25% for repair.
exactly.
Mm,
So
especially when you could just
it,
hit the kid with a hammer, and just get free repairs.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that's a really bad way of doing it. And I think the problem is I just didn't take that into consideration enough, and it's not scaled good for medics. So I need to just, improve it for medics, and I think it'll be a bit more fair.
I think that'd definitely be a very
Okay,
big step.
so I made a note of that.
I don't even remember what
And
topic this was.
and bounty. Well, it's just how it is.
I brought up
Yeah.
It
bounties
was
during
the intermission stuff. It was
Mm.
intermission stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's
because
all
intermission stuff. Yeah,
related.
bounties and
and
intermission.
then
Yeah.
medics don't really have a way to capitalize
Bounty
on
ores.
Yeah,
intermission
because as a
bounties.
gunner, you just kind of get, as a gunner DPS player, you just kind of get bounties. Like you just shoot zombies and you keep doing that. You get bounties. Medics, you need to go out of your way and get trinkets or use specialized tools for it. Like I get that. I think that, yeah, it does add to your cognitive load as those playstyles. But like, there's not really a great way around that. And maybe gunners should get more. I don't
Well,
know.
Yeah.
Bounty
So
balance
Bucket
is
made a good point
one
as well with
topic.
this, and it's probably something I should have done initially, and I should have just separated the trinkets out so then you could upgrade using essence. So have, bounty gloves for the repair main and bounty gloves for the medic. And same thing with the alchemy one. I could probably do that instead, to be honest. I think that'd help, wouldn't it? I just bundle them together because it is like an afterthought, just two support ones. So I guess I'll make a note of that because I think medics would really appreciate that, and repair mains if they could use their essence for their own trinket.
Mm.
So separate work gloves and the wand, I suppose, the alchemy wand.
It also means it's easier to balance them specifically for
Yes,
repairs
it is.
and medic.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that covers the intermission stuff. So as a quick summary, reduce the amount of stuff that humans have to do during the intermission and put more emphasis on just going for the rift. And then some of the bounty stuff needs looking into, like snowballing, making life easier for medics with getting bounties from the trinkets and stuff and separating them. Cool. What's next on my list? Let's see. Price increase for the arsenal.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So this is something that we've discussed quite a bit in the dev channel recently, and
We wanted
The
to bundle
main-
it. We wanted to bundle it with some of the zombie changes, but
but that fell through.
yeah, we kind of got beat to the
unfortunately.
punch. But
That did not work well.
I think we could start by posting our proposed changes and see what
Let me see if I can find it. Because I posted the price, like the proposed price changes.
But the first thing people always say, it's like almost
I
like a
can
knee-jerk.
try funny for you. Let me see. No. Wait, on.
Let me
But the knee-jerk reaction people usually always have with the price increase is think of the new players. Think of the bad
The
players.
4 new players.
Well, the way that the price changes have been done, it is considering players of all skill. I cannot
Ooh.
find it.
I can try. Give me a sec.
I'm looking through all my messages.
And if we want to talk justification, I think there are a
Oh,
lot
I
of really
found
good
it.
reasons
no,
to do
I-
it
oh,
outlined.
Okay. Never mind.
I'll post it in the chat here. This is what I proposed. So in the brackets, you have what the price difference would be then. So the reason we wanted to do a price increase is, first of all, these prices have not changed in many years. And the problem with that is we're now having these growing pains where players can get a ton more points from zombies, as you can see from the, just like, well, sometimes people can get like 10,000 points, but back when these prices were added, 10,000 was unheard of. Maybe even 5,000 was insane back in the day.
3,000 was unheard of when these.
Yeah,
prices were-
I
House
remember.
wasn't heard of.
Yeah, I remember back when there was an award for getting 500 points or even 1,000. Like that was an insane
And there's
milestone.
I think there was no. It was either 3,000 or 2,000. There was no reward for because.
Yeah. Normal zombies used to only be worth 5 points, what I remember. So, with the health scaling and everything, it makes sense though. But
Yeah.
previous attempts at handling this issue, they've always been negatively
Averted.
received. Like scaling, or that was, scaling down your points received, people hated it,
That was bad, yeah.
I think I tried a few other ideas and we just had to revert them all because people hated them.
But yeah.
So,
but right now,
the final solution now is we just have to be okay to just increase the prices of stuff because too many people can get the first few problems is tier 2 tends to be missed out by a majority of the players. It's a forgotten tier mostly. People aim for tier 3 or 4. And another option, but we decided against, that we know people would have hated, is just make it so you cannot buy tier 4 guns until like after wave 1 or something. I think that was something the points they've had, but we know that people would hate that. And that's fair enough. I don't think it's a nice way of doing it. So let's just increase the prices instead. And tier 1 and 2, they would not be affected. But tier 3, it'd go up a bit, and then 4, 5, and 6 a lot more, because we want to make it harder to just get a high tier weapon on wave 1 or 2, whatever, and just snowball. And by keeping tier 2 the same, it makes tier 2 more meaningful then, which is another one of our goals.
And I remember we discussed like a ton of stuff before this. Like we looked at wave 1, 2, and 3, and like what are people doing to get a tier 6 in 2 waves. We even thought about scaling the prices based on the current population. That was like a 5-minute conversation.
I didn't. Well, I can see how that might be a good idea, but then the problem I think is
consistency. People won't.
Yeah,
know
it's just consistency.
Yeah.
People don't know what people won't know what anything costs.
People might get annoyed that it's high pop because then everything's more expensive, or
And like health scaling means that there's more. Like I think this is the big thing. Like we doubled zombie HP recently.
Yeah.
Through health scaling, double, triple. Like we did a lot, and it's like there's a lot more points to get now.
Yeah.
So like human DPS could just accelerate incredibly fast, and I think that's justification enough for at least a minor bump to arsenal prices. There's just more points available. It literally is point inflation.
I'll never forget that bug fix.
Is.
I'll never forget that bug fix Reacts did like three or so years ago, where health scaling didn't actually award more points.
Yeah, that changed the game.
Yeah, when that was fixed, that
I was
I think I made a graph to show that.
I was going to say a decent point is would tools be price hiked as well? Because the thing is that, like I said before, it's a very fine line they're playing with, and they don't really benefit from the health scaling because, like medics and repair mains, they don't really benefit from like, health scaling.
Back then when rocket turrets were like the meta, it actually mirrored the tier 5 costs, but I think it's fine just to keep tools the way they are and just apply it for melee and guns.
When you say tools, are you including things like medic guns though, like Apostle and Deep?
No, I think he's just talking tools.
not those. I mean, if
med kits and stuff.
Yeah, just
Not
like
hybrid,
I don't think
med
those would get
tools and
changed, right?
like hammers and stuff.
Rejuvenator.
No, I don't think. As long as it's not like a DPS weapon, sort of, I don't see why this should be changed. Because this change is only specifically for like guns and melee. It's less about support players, to be honest.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear for everyone because people were worrying.
That is a good point, though, to think about the hybrid weapons, because you're going to see a lot less of the higher tier ones running around, I think.
I mean, to be fair, there was a bit of an issue with those, so it's probably a good thing. Because, I mean, like with the Apostle, that was...
Yeah.
They can hold their own in DPS, and the other points are fine, so yeah, it'll probably be fine.
And it is an inevitable that from price increases, you are going to get, like, then problems with balancing.
Yeah,
but
that's
that
gonna
is
be
something
the win rate's
that
gonna
we're
be
just going to
0.
have to address as it happens. That's just, people shouldn't be afraid that things are just going to, like, they're going to get stuck on certain tiers now because, as always, we just continuously to balance the game as it is. So,
I mean, who knows?
we'll just work around it.
Maybe after the price increase, we'll get the magic win rate we always wanted of %, and we can all quit.
Yeah. And I think, looking at these prices, I think it's justified and still
I think it's
fair.
reasonable.
I think
I really
so.
do think it's reasonable.
It keeps.
It's aimed at tier 4, 5, and 6 specifically.
And the thing is, like, the harsh thing that we're not increasing, like, ammo costs. I think that would be universally
That would really
like,
suck for
horrible.
players.
And that would be the thing that
honestly,
hurts new
might
players.
be
Like, let's be real.
fine. We might be fine, honestly.
But,
I
like,
think so.
look, I think we should take it slow. I think increasing the tier,
Yeah,
like, for
let's
the
take
weapon
it
prices,
slow
good.
and
I
let's
think
take it one
ammo
step
is
at a time,
gonna
one step at a
really
time.
be complicated.
No, we should leave ammo alone.
Ammo should stay.
yeah,
Ammo
just
should
leave
stay
it
the
alone.
same.
It's fine.
If
right
it's
now.
the later game guns increasing price, it's fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think majority, if not all, developers are on board that it's a necessary change for the health of the game. So that's
Well,
something
I
that
also
we
think
might.
something that should be brought up is like the power scale between tiers. Like some tiers you jump up and it's like double your DPS. I think that's kind of where a lot of points come from.
I think certain weapons have higher DPS than you would expect, but like,
I mean,
in
some
tiers,
weapons
I
do
think
like
they're
1,000
okay.
DPS, which is nuts. Like, that is
What weapons
crazy.
do 1,000 DPS?
Most meta builds do.
Yeah, meta builds
that's
do,
not
but
a
not
weapon.
guns.
But there's
Yeah,
guns,
weapon.
dude. There's guns,
I mean,
though.
I mean, we're
I can't think of it in my head.
What guns? What
I
guns
can't
do
think
more
of it
than
off the top
1,000
of my
DPS
head,
right
but
now?
there's definitely.
Well, you should figure that out. And tell me,
yeah,
tell me which one you think.
which guns
the Trinity
specifically?
Ghoul, maybe.
But like,
But I
what's
don't think it
What
does
gun
1,000
does
plus.
1,000 DPS off the bat?
Vindicator.
I think that he's just saying
The
that.
Vindy? I don't think the Vindy does that.
That's if it's like
Yeah.
all grouped up, yeah, maybe
I mean,
I mean,
if you
there's
got a
that-
bunch of bounties.
on high pop with all.
Yeah, if you have a bunch of I'm talking base. I'm talking like you buy the weapon out of the shop.
Okay. So like,
Can it
what
do
is
1,000?
an AOE
your
weapon, I'm sure they're
ideal
able to do that.
DPS
That
per
fires
tier?
pretty hard.
I don't know. I think once we get to defining stuff like that, it gets really complicated because some weapons are more sustain and some weapons are more burst, and it's like you're gonna have more DPS at certain times in certain situations. It's like, do we write this down on paper and say like, okay, if it's above this amount, then it's like it's broken as hell? I don't think we do. I think there's certain
We
things where
actually
it's
do,
like,
though.
Yeah, it's
do we? Then what's the DPS limit for T6?
I don't think there is a
That's
limit.
what we should. That's what we should establish. Yeah, that was what I was saying.
Okay, so then like we got to take things like I don't know,
mean,
disfavor
if
out of the
your
game because that has an
DPS
ability that increases its DPS. So
I
it's
didn't
like,
say remove abilities. It just said nerf it. Then, like,
nerf it, but then like that's my point. Like it is a weapon that has really good or has like okay damage normally, but then when you use its ability, its DPS goes over that amount.
okay, it didn't nerf
That's
the
what I'm
damage the
saying.
ability does. Like easy.
But then you
solution.
can't have high burst.
Why do you need to
things.
nerf it?
You can't have high burst things in the game anymore. You got to remove the tiny.
I never
then,
said
too.
that. Probably comes down to more of like damage per minute than not per second.
But then
Well, there's
what's the
certain
time period
weapons right
works?
now that do need nerfing.
There is.
Like
yeah.
Storm. What is it? Storm Riders.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, Storm Riders.
Yeah.
The point is that there's a lot of variability within tiers, and keeping track of all that is a monumental task. So that's why we just take the approach of finding, what is overperforming, take that down a notch, see how it affects the game. If something else is discovered, because there's a lot of weapons out there that people call sleeper weapons, which are extremely overtuned, but no one's using them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they become a problem when people use them.
Yeah, they
So then
become a
people
problem
do
when people
something.
learn
Yeah,
them.
then people find the one thing to break them and make them ridiculous.
I
I mean, that's just how any complex system's gonna work.
I mean, I predicted the tiny slug nerf was going to make everyone move to the eternal slug gun. So we'll see how that pans out.
I don't think so. I mean, I used the tiny today. I did pretty good for myself. You know, like it's something that honestly barely matters for the tiny. If I'm gonna be honest, like the income was so ridiculous. It's like whatever, I'll buy more ammo.
My concern with weapon DPS is what we've seen is all the new weapons that have been released recently. It's normal that everyone then jumps on and uses them because it's a new weapon. It's exciting, but they're usually then overtuned when compared to more staple guns, like for example, I don't know, Glue-On or
Yeah.
what is it, Vindicator, or like these more old school sort of weapons, like the Enforcers. Like I was looking at Storm Riders and then looking at Enforcers, and it's like clearly one is way better than the other. And then I'm concerned is that if we leave these unchecked for long enough, then people are going to be like, well, why would we use these old weapons? They're not as good as the new ones. And then
the
those
good
old
news
ones, they
is-
get power crept.
The good news is it's all going to go away in 13 days. But hey,
Dude.
a lot of it is akimbo base. Akimbo base is just cracked by
Kimbo base
design.
is awesome.
I'm also hoping that an increased price gap between tiers will be then sort of, I think that'll help with like adjusting the power of every tier to be a bit more meaningful. Because I always thought like tier 3 and 4 are a bit too close, or like, tier 2 and 3 sometimes are a bit muddled or whatever. So that'll help.
There was another thing I wanted to bring up. Yeah, a lot of the new weapons too. Like, there are a class of mistakes or oversights that you can make to make guns super strong. I mean, everybody's seen me in the CS discussions chat. It's like, is that tapered? Does that do a guaranteed dot? And like 90% of the time, when it's a problem, it's like, oh well, there it is. You fix that, and that's good. Like. Because these things are really hard to predict, especially in like a testing environment where it's like, if you're not looking out for these problems, you will not notice them. But in game, they matter like a ton. They're huge. Like, and these are things that just happen. You got to fix. We got to do better about educating ourselves and each other about these things, because that is 90% of the issues. It's just like, oh, it's untapered. It just linearly increases with the amount of zombies that you get in the AOE. So it's just ridiculous. It's crazy. 80 pop. You're dealing that much damage to 80 zombies. It's like, oh my god. That's why a lot of them are overtuned. So
I also think we need to establish a better like standard of like what is considered OP.
Well, the standard is like use the blast function.
No, I'm talking about weapons in general. Like we don't really have a standard for what is considered OP. It's just like, oh, biggest 10,000 points is OP, but it's like, but then there's also some weapons that are like considered shit.
We're gonna be
certain weapons like anchors, like the Enforcers, is like they haven't been touched in a long time. So that's your like
I think older weapons haven't touched in a
we
long
gotta
time
be
are a
careful
good standard.
I think
we gotta be careful about defining a ton of rules
though.
Because we define a ton of rules, like again, once it hits this hard cap of DPS, that's going away. We gotta nerf.
Well, no,
like,
I don't think a hard cap's a good idea.
I think hard caps are not like. There's certain rules like you need to taper your AoEs. That's simple. That's easy. Like you can look for that. That you can even automate that. If we were like really great at programming, you could go into the code and automate searching for stuff.
Even
like that.
Mantle bonuses, they're not standardized.
Yeah,
that's what I said. In Reox,
I think bonuses doing something with that.
Yeah,
because
I did it for light.
Trinity bow had like an insane mantle.
It still has guaranteed dots. It still has a guaranteed dot AoE. It's basically a gem. It's like a tiny gem going off every time you shoot that thing.
Yeah, that weapon still needs reviewing.
I expect a video on it soon. Anyway, I gotta peace out. Actually, I didn't have too much time to do this. I wanted to show up still. So sorry, I'm not gonna be here for questions, but I think I was able to give some good input. So I'll see you guys later.
Joining, Drew. Thank you very much.
Sorry about that. Something came up last minute. I was glad to be here. Good luck with the questions. I might be able to be pinged depending on what happens later. So yeah, I'll try to read through the chat though and give my feedback on some questions. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.
No man, thanks
good luck.
Drew. Thanks for showing up.
And thanks everybody who asked questions. Again, sorry I'm not able to answer them. Yep. Okay. So see you guys.
So I think that's wrapped up all of my points that I had in my document. I think we've covered everything. Now, unless anyone else has anything they'd like to discuss, I think this is a good, and we've already reached the 1 hour mark as well. We could go into community questions.
Yeah, we're right on cue.
How do you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, so who's going to be the one copy pasting the questions?
Oh, God.
I thought you guys have it. Do you guys not?
Oh, the community
don't take mine. Don't
We
take
need
mine.
to have it on stream. We need to have it on stream, so it needs to be copy pasted
Okay,
into the
fine.
chat.
Oh, you
Okay,
mean putting it in the chat?
I would do it. I do it. I do it.
All right. Firestorm's here to do it.
Let me
See the
see.
Hire
first
Janie.
question.
Janie Storm.
So, will there ever be a system in place to control changes made to the server? Right now, there isn't even a design document or a head developer to help keep changes consistent or balanced.
Fuck, I wish Drew was here. he could answer this.
Yeah.
There are
I mean,
no,
I
there,
can.
there's
Oh.
so there's there are some discussion. There is nothing that's planned, basically, but it really depends on what you mean by like head developer, because
I know what he means.
Yeah,
He means there's no
yeah,
like
we don't-
structure to the changes. Again, this is something that I was talking to. I was talking about in developer channels. Is that I think he's more referring to like the random changes, probably more along the lines of like what happened recently, where I had to just revert a bunch of stuff because it's just not communicated, and you went way overboard with some of the stuff you did. And a lot of people speculate that it's based on feelings. And I kind of made it a point, like, we do these Q&As so people can feel heard, and a lot of the times they don't feel heard.
Yeah.
Because they I don't know if it's true or not, and people do say, like, they see, I don't know, Pooflet go on, and they kill him with a weapon or something, and he gets mad, and he leaves, and then he just rage nerfs something. I don't know if it's true or not, but people have that sentiment.
No, Poof wakes up in the morning and his first thought is nerf humans, and then he gets on his computer and nerfs them.
Well, that's just more of a joke, but
I can tell you right now that no, I don't get mad, and anyone that knows me knows that if I did let emotions take control, I probably would have left Sunrust multiple times by now. But no, none of it is an emotional thing. It is. I am very passionate about the game's balance and how fun it is. And when I can see that something is blatantly unfun, then I will just act because I have the power to do so. That's usually how it is. And that's usually seen as a rage nerf because, yeah, it is me joining, seeing something broken or being abused by people, and a bunch of people are not having fun. So I see it as my duty to then go and do something about it.
Really, the rage nerfing is just
usually what it is, though. To be honest,
that's not making a rage change. That's just making a change based on seeing how it performs
based on
in
what I
game.
see. Like that's that's
well,
what it is.
yeah, but at the same time, I kind of do say, like, where I feel like we can do that, I feel like it's better to not do that sometimes and just let something be broken for a while and then let people feel the impact of it being broken rather than you feeling the impact and stopping it before it's a problem.
Oh, you mean just wait for other people
Just
to
let it,
complain
just
about
let it
first?
happen for the
Oh
point,
my
like, yeah, just let it go. Let it go on for a bit, and then they're like, "Oh shit, this is
Yeah.
broken. Can you do something about it?" And you're like, "Okay, there you go."
Let it
But
go.
if it's not a problem and you change it before it's a problem, people will not be happy about that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
One thing I wanted to say is another thing is that a lot of the times there aren't really any comments or anything on the updates, so there's no real look into the thought process behind the changes.
Yeah, that's another thing that other game devs do that, and
Drew
they like
does a
give
really good
reasoning.
I mean,
job with
that's something that's something I do a lot, and no one really complains about my updates. I mean, people can get a bit like no, but they don't really like.
No, Xerxes, I think your updates are fine. They've got description justified. So are Drew's.
Okay. Mine's
Yeah, that's probably why Drew doesn't get a lot of complaints. Like, if there's like proper reasoning for your update, then people won't complain. So maybe that'd be a good standard for everyone to have.
You should probably do that. Like, we should
Like,
probably be.
I know that Pooflet doesn't do that really. I know
I don't.
Other people don't do that. Like Dark One usually wouldn't, Rayox wouldn't. But and then another thing, like a little more on that topic, is like, yeah, there are no head developers because everyone's just like kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But like, we don't really have a hierarchy of that. But I guess it's like almost a little unwritten that Pooflet has more control over the balance of the game right now. and obviously like the people who were here from the start and Magic and Drew are probably like the top people changing the game right now. So it's kind of like whoever
it's a
comes and goes.
seniority thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of. I would say there is a little bit. I mean, I don't like to say that is seniority. Obviously, new developers should like, kind of like feel welcomed is what I mean, and
Yes.
feel like they can change stuff. But I mean, it's more like a group. It's more like a group collective. And obviously, I would have like the final say of anything.
Yeah, a lot of it is unspoken, just the feel of it.
It's not. I don't really. I think you can kind of tell with Sunrust. I don't like the feeling of like people feeling superior to others.
No.
That's how the admin system is set up too, for the most part. Even though it's inevitable. So yeah, there's no real head developer. There's no title of it. It's just almost unwritten, unspoken.
Yeah.
And we're a group.
I mean, I do explain my updates ahead of time in dead chat, so well.
Yeah, that's
barely.
probably a good idea. Just like put reasoning for your changes if you think it's controversial.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think
More
that is-
descriptive changes.
Yeah.
That is one thing about
people meme about Professor Drew like putting a document every time he commits something to ZS, but
No, they're amazing.
It's
honestly.
very nice for context.
It is. I think
Like-
his updates are always very well written. But I think that makes sense. I think, well, I guess this is more for me, isn't it? If I'm doing anything controversial, I should always put my reasoning in that instead of having people mention me 100 times saying, why have you done this and so on. Then I have to go and answer or I forget. And yeah. So
Yeah, I
try
think
to
the
do
most
that.
recent
I
one
think-
was the leech change that was just like
Yeah.
out of nowhere and people are upset
Oh
about that.
yeah.
Yeah, even well, I think we did discuss that, Dev, didn't we?
We
But
discussed
yeah, I
it for
guess,
like one line of text, and I think you just went along with it.
Yeah.
That is another thing I wanted to touch on, like, because sometimes changes can happen a bit quickly and they aren't really discussed. Because I know, like, the thing that happened with the med kits is that, like, the healing got halved, I think.
Oh yeah, I goofed up on that. I
Yeah,
nerfed the
and-
wrong thing.
And if it was communicated like in dev, like this is what I'm going to do, then I probably would have said,
Yeah.
let's maybe not do that and go with something different. Because I ended up nerfing the med kit because there was worries about too much burst healing on the early
Yeah.
waves, and I mean that is a valid concern, but I think it's just where there wasn't as much. I think it's just where I play medical, like I'm more able
Yeah,
to
of
comment on
course.
stuff like that. And obviously there are other devs who have different playstyles who can probably
Yeah, and
climb
that's
in more
another
on
interesting point that I don't think we've properly discussed before. But yeah, devs do prefer playing certain aspects of the game, and they're usually have more experience and knowledge into it, and you should probably get advice from them. Like you said, Xerxes plays a lot of medics. P-Town needs to play a lot of medics. Drew's your, fisherman, contraband, all that.
Oh, one second.
For me, to be honest, like it's always been zombies for me. So usually when there's like zombie changes or stuff, then I'm interested in and want to make sure that the changes I think will be good for the game and so on.
Mm.
But yeah, very good question. And I think from that, yeah, well, I think any controversial changes, they should always have just a few lines from the developers to just explain the reasoning as to why they're doing it. I think that'll be good. So
Really?
yeah, thank you very much for that question.
or even just in general, just as a general.
Yeah, I think so. Just be more open. Can we get the next question,
We got it.
please?
I already posted.
With how important bosses are late game, will we see possibly remote lock? No remote locking.
Nope, it's not happening.
locking.
Since we rubber new caters for badly cating win sigils.
No,
late
there's
game-
no. I'm
okay.
gonna just
No.
cut that short. No, it's not happening.
No.
Okay.
That's a
here-
question. That's a question about the criteria bosses are selected, if anything.
If you're bad enough to get, a bad player to get boss over you, that's a skill issue.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
unrelated, but we are going
But
to
I
be
can also
putting more
see
power into
why
the bosses.
too.
All right, next
Sorry?
question.
Yeah, sorry to cut that short, but it's just not happening.
Yeah. What is the ceiling for power one individual human should and can have? If a human is able to contribute too much or be too powerful, it seems like that player's items/weapons get nerfed or put up to scrutiny. It creates a loop where contributing less means less change retribution towards you. What's the expectation? What is the approved ceiling of power?
We actually pre-discussed this, and
Yeah,
We did.
this is actually a big question. I agree with Reax. Like this is totally up to like feeling and how the game is. Honestly, there's no
Yeah.
straightforward answer to that.
Yeah. I think
Like,
if one player is having too much control over the game and it's unfun for a lot of people, then
Yes,
that
yeah,
is usually the concern. And that
that's
goes on
it.
humans and zombies, both sides.
Yeah, that's the answer I was looking for, and that's the answer that we've always followed.
Yeah.
The one I think I've used this example before, the drone example, where if it's fun for one and not for all, then it should be changed. And
Yeah.
it's like if it's very egregious, then yes, it will probably be changed.
Yeah.
You have to look
But
at the fun factor for not only just the zombies, but the humans when using that argument.
yeah. But these changes, is not targeting certain players. There's no bias on that. It's just a coincidence that certain players know how to exploit the game very well. So they know how to have a lot of control. So I think that's where the coincidence you know, of a player's, style or whatever keeps getting nerfed because they know what they're doing and they know how to, make the most of it. So
No, he didn't mean that. He didn't mean playing the game well as exploiting.
no, not at all.
He meant
Like-
so what you're trying to say is that we do have to worry about the top end of people who know
Yes.
the ins and outs of the
the
game.
1%.
Otherwise,
The 1%.
something could be not fun for everybody at that point.
Yeah.
Though people should feel powerful. That's not what
Yeah.
you kind of have to be careful about what you're saying. You want people to feel powerful with reason,
Yes.
within the limits of like what's intended for the most part.
Yeah.
That's what he means.
There's not
What
a
is too
one.
powerful? Then that's what I mean. Like that's basically up to like us to decide. And yeah, that does suck. And again, I've had this talk where like people need to feel heard because a lot of the times when changes like that happen, people don't feel heard. People feel like the devs are against them, and it's like, no, that's not it. I mean, that might be the unintended after effect of what certain devs do, but that's usually not it.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think having like updates with specific reasoning or holding off on nerfing something unless it's an egregious problem that people are upset about might help that, rather than just like, I'm bored today. What needs to be changed? All right, this is OP. Gonna change it.
Yeah.
Don't care what anyone says. Oh, and by the way, if you use this method, you're exploiting the game and get fucked. That's essentially what people think or feel.
Yeah.
Or I do. No, I'm saying, but
I hope that answers the question.
Here's the next one.
Emerite rework win.
Soon.
I'll do that. I will rework it when I'm not doing alchemy or this demiboss stuff, but I do want to rework it. And I spoke with Darker about this one, and I know exactly how I would rework it. I've got some cool ideas for it. So that'll happen when I have some time to get on and do that. But I do want to personally look into that. Okay, next question. I think practically every player can agree that the game has seen a drop in quality, both in terms of humans being competent / skilled alongside various other aspects. The reality of the situation is that humans only cater on high pop or if there is one of the designated caters on. Not to mention, people don't bother even catering any sigil that doesn't have an S tier angle when way entrance. Can we create more rewards for caters to incentivize the important role in the game mode?
I think only the last line.
I
of
think
that
only the
question
last
is-
part was the question.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. To be
The
honest.
first part was just fluff.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay, so now I agree. Like cading
hyperbole.
is a very difficult part of ZS, and it's frustrating. Like really, and it always has been. No matter what we've done, it's always been frustrating. It's always been annoying, and only like people trust only like the veteran dedicated caders to like even dare to cade for them.
I feel like it's gotten harder over time as the game's
and
gotten
it's
more like.
oh yeah, it's gotten a lot harder, and it's annoying. It's not fun. I feel like it's a very difficult thing to change though, considering how integral cading is.
Yeah.
But the one idea that I would have probably liked to see was like buffs to sigils that are deemed difficult to cade. But we'd also have to go around and flag those sorts of sigils or keep them or remove them or whatever. That's a mentality thing.
We did do some tooling upgrades to how sigil nodes work, so that is possible. That's an avenue we can go down. So I know Matt Marsh brought up I think he was the first one to bring up making difficult sigils give better rewards.
Yeah, I remember when he said that.
If we can find excuse me.
Maybe more XP or more Ember on win.
But Ember and XP are like fluff.
Yeah,
people don't.
Yeah,
that doesn't
they're not,
incentivize anyone to do anything. So it'd have to be different.
It almost have to be like a passive buff to barricade HP based on the number of entrances to the sigils.
Yeah. But that'd be good though to like track like which sigils have the highest win rate over time and just do something like that.
You would need
It'd be a little difficult.
You need about like a year of data because when a map is played, that map doesn't get played for 14 days. I checked. I checked. There are so many.
And also, a lot of the because Scott's been standardizing maps as well, like where all sigils should roughly play the same too. It's a thing. So is that then more of a map issue if a sigil sucks, or a bad node or something?
Well, see, that's where I kind of like had arguments with just people in general over the years. Is like, yeah, you could probably argue that the standardized maps are boring, but that's what people preferred. It's what people have wanted, and it's not the minority; it's the majority. And not only that, this boils down to the problem that we had even just today, is that if somebody doesn't like a map, they have a lot of influence of how the game goes. It just takes not even just one person. Like, you could do one person, and they have an influence of how the whole game goes. They can just kill a bunch of key people, and that's it.
Yeah.
Ideally, with the sigil group system, you could have something where it's like you'll always get a guaranteed good quote unquote sigil.
Yeah, and then a bad one you could throw away.
Because
I don't know
people
how you do that.
people like cading. There are some caders who like making throwaway cades. It's a good learning experience, and you get a lot of points when a bunch of zombies just destroy your cade.
Yeah, I like cading the harder sigils that people don't
Me
go
too.
for
I
either.
hate cading easy.
But you're a minority.
Yeah.
You're not a majority. You are part of the minority who enjoys that sort of challenge, but that's not everybody.
But
we need to protect our minorities.
But we just recently got the ability to, edit sigil groups on the fly in game. Even on maps that don't have sigil groups defined. So, we could use that to make it so that, the probability of getting 3 terrible sigils at once is reduced. And we'll probably just keep the system as is unless someone comes up with an algorithm to define, what sigils are hard and which ones aren't.
Yeah.
That would have to probably be manual. We'd have to do it manually. We'd have to do that completely manual. I don't think there's a way to do it automatically.
Yes, thank you for
map
the question.
thing. It's a map thing, yeah. It's very complicated. We'll probably have to think more about it.
Oh.
And we say that every QnA though.
We just can't.
It gets there eventually.
Will there ever be a map pool trim? And if there will be one, how would it ideally be done? I think that's a question for Scott.
24/7 map
No.
stream.
Not unless there's okay, so I have a standard for that. And it's more generous than most I guess other servers would do it. Is that if there's an inherent problem with the map, I'll probably remove it. If there's not, I'm probably not gonna. And other people's maps, like if you hate a map, there's a good chance someone else might like it. And if I feel like I can't get a proper gauge on how a map plays, then I'll either try and fix it or I'll remove it.
I mean, me
But
personally,
most of the time, I don't remove maps unless there's a big problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean you can't bring up to Scott and be like, "Hey, you should look into this map. It might have issues."
Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's like I'd rather proper reasoning for stuff like that, and everyone who's known me has known that I don't usually give an easy time to remove a map. I usually like say, can it be fixed? Or I look at it, and if it can't, or if it's like really, really unpopular and I think it's doesn't play well, then I'll probably get it out. Usually I'll remove maps that don't feel finished. Like if they were from a contest, I'll leave up a map that's probably like in development so the mapper themselves can like play it, and once time has passed, I'll get rid of it if it's not updated or fixed.
You can even ask me. I've done plenty of edits to maps that were difficult or too easy, and I've changed them. So I mean, you can always let mappers know. Hey, don't fucking clown my edits, okay? You'd be surprised how many edits I've done and are enjoyed.
I think Vault City got disabled on main. There's
It's
certain maps
not.
that are on. It's not. It should have been.
It's not. It's not.
Had to have been unless you unlocked it.
I didn't. I wouldn't dare.
Disabled. There's some
There we
maps
go.
that's really
Vault City is
unpopular.
forever.
Well, that's another thing. I've disabled unpopular maps before and have kept them on like point save where they don't complain.
Finish on the point save.
Point save doesn't care. It plays differently, and I understand that. It's like
Yeah, it does.
point save doesn't really matter as much, like where the sigils are, because they just care about one spot. So if a map has one good spot, then it's fine for point save. But generally, main requires 3 decent spots, and that's like the
Balancing
bare
on main is
minimum
more
for a map.
fragile.
Is like, yeah, well, I'll have the bare minimum for a map. I tell mappers like, if you want a map to be on main, then you kind of have to have at the minimum 3 sigil spots, and it doesn't matter if they change or not, but the minimum should be 3.
And that means we're not removing all of Johnny Mo's maps.
Yeah, Johnny Mo has like a few maps that are just bare minimum 3, but you know, people just hate him to hate him. So
They hate him
I
because they
don't
hate Johnny
remove
Mo.
maps. Oh, I don't remove maps because you hate the mapper.
Oh, right.
Okay, next question. Can we re-add certain melee bounty weapons? Yeah, short answer for that is yeah. Any weapons that were removed when we were going through the bounty changes, yeah, we can bring any of them back. I think that's fine. So yeah, blooding. Whirly Jigsaw we already have, but if it doesn't have an 8 bounty, then sure, can add that to both of those. I think that's fine. The machete. Yeah, any weapons that were removed because they were solely for bounty farming, I don't see why not. We can just add them back. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I can. I might just take a look into it.
Yeah, you can do that if you want.
I think it's time we bring back Hollow Card.
Unless someone else wants to do it.
Yeah, you can do it if you want.
Oh, you meant bounty weapons, not bounties themselves.
Yeah, bounty weapons. Just bring back any bounty weapons or any variants that were disabled. I think that's fine.
Actually, funny enough, that map
Hmm?
should probably be locked to point save. That's
Oh
only
yeah,
because it's kind of
I
hard
hate
to
that.
inside that map.
I had to adjust
Which
the
one? Vault City?
no.
You know,
Rust and Dust.
Rust and Dust.
Rust and
People
Dust.
just like
Oh.
throw
Yeah,
all my stuff
zombies.
on the map
Okay,
and
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
It's
let me
one of
tell you,
those maps.
zombies. Oh,
I'll
okay.
probably just do that. Actually,
The spawn is
zombies
terrible
can
too.
just jump off from spawn all the way to the.
Yeah, he didn't do what I said. I think Toxic Man did not like put
Yeah.
a fence all the way across. He just put it in one area and you can still jump down. So that's
You can even jump
technically a
over
map
it.
flaw.
Look, you can jump up there.
Look,
Do it, jump. Oh.
Yeah, it's that one. It's that that map.
yeah.
Do a jump. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, next question.
we
Is
just-
there a future-proofing methods to prevent power creeps or unintentional interactions? Do we also have a deadline roadmap of when updates happen? The idea of continuous development, especially for balance, creates a meta of instability, which means people like wiki contributors and those who want to create tutorials for others have to worry about everything being outdated 1 hour later. Well, we don't really have deadlines or roadmaps. When I'm doing projects, I usually do set like a deadline or like tell people that this big update's coming out next week or something. That's just me.
Yeah, we
But
really only have deadlines for seasonal stuff, and if
Yeah.
someone promises like a big,
I mean, I give you guys the time for it too.
Yeah.
So
if someone
But
promises
anything
like
else, it's usually just when a developer wants to do something, they just have the freedom to do it whenever, and they can announce it in advance, or that's just how it is. As
Yeah.
for the whole instability, I think that's just the nature of how Sunrust Zombie Survival is, though. I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of people also enjoy, the appeal of, you join 1 week later and the meta is completely different. I know some people might not like it, but I
Yeah,
think
that's just how we do it.
yeah, like we don't really, we're only gonna release an update next week, guys, or every other month, or I don't think people like that. And it
No,
would,
And
people
plus, no
probably
one here
won't
gets
like
paid.
that.
No one here gets paid. Everyone does it on their free time. If people aren't
Yeah.
free, then they're not going to update.
that's just how
People
the
should
nature
do
of
things
Sunrust
because they
is.
want to. No one's like,
Yeah.
it's the freedom of doing it.
If you
Yeah, I
keep the
used to
meta
do
like,
it.
if you keep
And
the
yes,
meta kind
the
of fresh every time,
downside is that
then
yeah, anything wiki related or guides, they will just get outdated. That's just the nature
Yeah.
of it.
Our
But
wiki's dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a necessary evil.
yeah, that's just how Sunrust is, and I know people prefer it how it is right now with development because it keeps things always fresh.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you had things always the same, it would just be very still.
Yeah, so no,
I say
no,
we get an AI, and when we make a change, make a change on the wiki.
but yeah, the
Yeah.
wiki is just the update logs.
Yeah.
Update logs is
A
where it's
logs
at.
glorified.
Okay.
But I hope that hope I was able to answer all of your questions there. I think the power creep stuff we already kind of covered in previous questions and stuff. So yeah, thank you for that question. We got the next one.
Firestorm posted it.
Oh,
We had
answer
kind
for
of
this.
answer it, but unless
probably
you
just
want to
should, we,
go.
we actually kind of react
Does
to
the
the
arsenal
answer.
price increase also inflate the scrap required to upgrade? I believe so. I believe Rayox has made that very clear
Rayox
that
did
that needs
mention
to
about
happen
it.
as well. And I think that's fine because more point sinks and stuff is, I think, a good thing with how inflated points are anyway. So
I think with that update, didn't we want to add remantling everywhere?
which one?
Point
I don't know.
increase,
The
probably.
point increase one.
I don't remember that.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind. You can already easily upgrade through the Sunhead inventory. And I guess people would still prefer having a remantler just for it's nice to press E on something, isn't it?
Well, I mean, currently you do have to be near either
You do
a
need to
sigil
be near
or
one,
a
yeah.
mantler.
I don't know. I'm impartial to it. I think people can remantle wherever they want.
I mean, we
Uh,
can discuss this later. To be honest, we are in no rush.
I
for
think
this.
that'd be a nice positive to add with the price increase.
So we're going to
Yeah.
put a
I
to be
mean, the
determined
price
on
increase
that.
thing is something that had to happen like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I feel like that would sign the death warrant on the remantler deployable.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it at all. We'd have to have a deeper discussion about that then. What we want to do with the remantler.
Yeah, we can discuss this later.
Let's see. What's the next question? With the new focus on buffing demis, can we revert the nerfs to roamers? Specifically the boomstick. I know Z-Main complained about
No.
roamers, but he's singular normal zombie. Yeah, the answer to that is if it's been nerfed, it's been
Does you mean a
justified.
full revert of boomstick? Because it's probably not happening ever. It's gonna just be a
No.
build up now and forever.
Yeah.
How many kills is it to build up? Is it 1 or 2?
I think.
I mean,
I swear this is
I mean, if it's 2, it
That
could
sort
probably
of
be changed.
mobility has to be limited, unfortunately, because it kind of breaks the game too much.
This
Well-
is like the fourth time Triv asked this about.
Well, something I'd like to say is that
I
whenever
think,
the
I
update,
think you got the answer now, don't you?
whenever Darker first made the update, he asked me to test it on main. And on low pop it works fine, but on high pop it's really bad because zombies have so much health. So I think it should probably be like damage, not kills, because kills are in high pop are much harder than low pop.
I agree with that. I
think
I
that both
guess
is
so.
fine.
I think
As long as
Yeah,
it's
if it's
it
like,
changed.
yeah, I can
It
see
should be
that.
based on
Like,
hits or
different.
damage or something similar.
Well, it's
'Cause,
easy
yeah.
on low pop too, so like that we don't want. That's like the worst time too to make it good on low pop, because you don't really have the zombie power to kill people like that.
Yeah, on low
Unless-
pop the boomstick currently is fine, but on
I'd
high
be
pop
fine
it's
changing it
trash.
to
It's so
damage.
shit.
Yeah, it should just
Yeah.
be changed to damage then.
Yeah, I think damage is fine.
Rex also says because of death learning AI.
Okay, but yeah, thank you for that question. Can we take a look / reconsider at self knockback to be fun for humans? And I think this sort of
We just answered that.
Yeah.
similar to
Yeah, we
yours
could
was-
look at it. We'll
that's-
continue. We're gonna continue to like monitor it, but my firm stance is like that sort of mobility needs to be limited pretty hard because they're
I think it's fine as long as
against.
it's boss line
Use
buildups.
reinforced boots. Use reinforced boots. Self-damage knockback. It's better.
There's certain people who can
Yeah.
abuse that mechanic very well, and they'll continue to find like the best method possible no matter what. And the sole intent is to stall out the game for as long as they
Yeah.
possibly can.
They
And
just
I don't
make
think
the
that's
game
healthy.
worse for everyone for the sake of stalling. So no, we don't
Yeah,
want that.
it's the intent of just stalling the game, and it's not fun. Like,
Like,
yeah,
sorry.
there's
Isn't
certain
the
people who
point
do it for
of
just the
anti-stall-
thrill of it.
Scott, wasn't the whole like idea of anti-stall to like take care of the people that were stalling too much? Like, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
like,
literally one
good
person
idea
though.
from you.
Yeah, it was literally Darius. It was
My
yeah, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure I told Tori to do it because there's no way to stop him at that point. And I think it was on point save too.
Yeah, it was. But like at some point we kind of added it to main because it was becoming a problem there too.
Well, then we like to counter it was the argument of like, okay, then we'll add a bunch of counters to it. But like kind of just realized over time it's like why add a bunch of counters to it for like one niche mechanic that's only on like a
Yeah.
few guns.
And
Might
everyone
as
else
well just tone
suffers
down the
for
mechanic.
counters.
Yeah, like
I mean,
nobody
this is why
likes
I
the
kinda-
anchor mechanic.
No, it's
No.
unnecessary.
The old
It
one, I
should be.
mean, the very old anchor mechanic was really unfun.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
old
like
one was really punishing. I remember it.
this
I
was
think
like
it's-
all in an attempt to keep the boomstick the way it was, and it just
Yeah.
a lot of people suffered
and
for
we
it. It's better to
failed.
just nerf the boomstick itself and not have
Yeah.
the ridiculous amounts of counters that we had for it. So yeah, it's a complicated thing. I know people find the boomstick fun, but I think it should be kept to like event maps or certain event modes, maybe within the game mode itself.
I mean, I tried making sure the Asclepius was good for stuff like going out for the rift, but trying to use it like consistently is you can't.
Yeah, each form of mobility should have proper downsides and like windows where you can actually deal damage to them that is meaningful.
Okay. So yeah, thank you for that question. Next one.
Poofa, you can skip this one. Skip this one. I
I'll
already
still-
answered.
Why?
Just so people can hear it. Will
It's
the
a-
point
it's
save
a-
server ever get a major update in the future? Right now, barely anyone is working on the server at the moment, and it feels like a lot of point save weapons and features have fallen to the wayside. Example, when was the last time point save had a weapon bonus crate update? That is ultimately
Whoa,
up to the
whoa.
developers to
Yeah,
decide
it's
to
up
do
to
that
Frey.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
probably why you said skip it.
Okay.
Yeah, I already answered it.
What was your answer?
Yeah,
might-
what did you say?
Whenever I'm like free from other projects, I can do something for point save.
Okay.
I
So
might
yeah, there you go.
do
Frey's
one-
looking into it.
I might
Yeah,
do
or
one.
who did we have working on point save? I would say like Frey was like the de facto person working on it, but we
Yeah.
had Sakura and Sakura's left.
So I
DJ
think,
a little
I think
bit.
there were some people that wanted to kind of
I
work on it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Farson was one of them. I think.
Yeah, I might do one mega weapon update to like one of the weapons. It's the GTA 8. It's in Tier 5. That's I don't know how you use that. That is
But yeah,
so awful.
it will eventually get updates. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah,
no
don't
one
worry,
really
guys.
has time.
Yes, thank you
to-
for the question, but yes, there will be some love given to point save.
Alright, here's the last one.
Okay, last question. Okay, let's have a look. Will we ever see a potential cutback / removal of rifts in favor of capturable objectives? Personally, I'm a much bigger fan of capturable objectives as they actually demand teamwork over just trying to make sure that you survive regardless of everyone else. Well, I think if you had a capturable objective every intermission, personally, I think that might be too much.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that it's just like it happens during one intermission because then it's a big deal. And I think if you were to make the capturable objective every intermission, you would see less of that. I think people would just forget about it or just do something else.
It wouldn't have
Because
as much
only happens
value.
once. Yeah, it's about the value. That's why you have so much more teamwork. But no, I think rifts are really good as they've been proven as a mechanic, and they'll just continue to stay every intermission as something to just go to. And then, if there is a capturable objective, then it is incentivized to go for that instead because you do get the same reward as a rift with extra. And then, yeah, you do have teammates then, watching your back. But I don't think there's going to be any changes to that.
Plus, the rift is good in case there's if the odds are stacked against humans.
Yeah.
And they can't capture the objective, then they can just go for the rift.
Yeah, I think it's good to have both. Because then if there is a capturable objective, all the zombies go to that one usually.
The version.
Yeah. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's more also like we talked about that during the QnA and like putting things closer together and less spread out. Just to feel like there's more stuff to do in an area versus like just spreading it everywhere, maybe.
Yeah. So
hard to travel around the entire map in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. So when the intermission changes do happen, I think you will see more teamwork just because humans will be closer together and more focused on specific objectives instead of let me go get the bushes or the ammo cache or the herbs. It'll just be rift or capturable objective. So you'll get more teamwork that way naturally, I think. Yes, thank you for that question. And I think that's all, isn't it? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so
Here's the question someone had about the scrap cost increases.
That was already covered.
I think we already answered that.
Yeah, it's tied to the point increase.
Yeah, it's tied to it, so it'll have to happen. But yeah, that's all the questions. So thank you everyone for submitting those. We do appreciate it, and I hope that we were able to answer any of your concerns as well.
Do we have any lightning round questions? Anyone feel like answering some lightning round
just
questions?
from the chat?
Spellbook when? Spellbook when?
Okay, yeah, we could do a lightning round. I think we've got like 15 minutes left, or a few minutes.
We could
Should we tell people to get the cinema server as well?
Oh yeah, the cinema server. So in that time, get to the cinema server.
Yeah,
when do we want to give out the rewards?
We'll probably give out the rewards at 6 p.m. sharp. Just make sure you're on the server. You'll get 50. You got 15 minutes.
Yeah, so hop on the server right now if you want your rewards.
Yeah, they'll be proportional. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like we don't have a distinct thing to like differentiate objective maps. I know that Space Corps made something for Light to do that, but it was never ported to main. Where like
is it the blacklist thing?
No. It was arena maps, like how Devoured Towers, Finger Defeater are different from objective. And they count on a different timer than objective.
I see.
So people so like that was one thing.
I mean, I want to do some work on the map vote, like the voting stuff. I don't know. I think Extreme wants to rewrite it or something.
The vote map is a little.
It's
a little old, and it's. I mean, it's good for what we want it to do, but There's some stuff that doesn't really like work as well as it should. Yeah, I
the
agree.
fast
That's
shifting
not good. Like Devour Tower Tanavis shouldn't be affecting the objective timer. It's not something
They're
that's
not even
really
votable.
intended. Well, when they're forced, it will still count.
Oh. I thought you were saying like letting them, like adding them to the map vote, but then being on a strict timer.
Yeah.
ZE on map vote when?
Nope. Only on the Z server. We have events for it, and people do join the events.
I mean,
I
there
think
is
it's
an event
time
right
we
now.
add It's time we add an arena server for Dev Tower.
I don't think people would like that. Like
No,
they'll
they
get bored
wouldn't.
of it really quick. There's not enough of those maps.
Nah.
I mean, if you had an objective server only, like people will still be.
I mean,
very
Light will
bored of it
have
very quickly.
arena and
There's
stuff
not.
votable, but I'm still working on Light.
I mean, having a definition for an arena map or an event map would probably be beneficial for the vote map as a whole. Because like
Imagine a random vote that starts it's like every like 25 rounds or something like that, or 50 rounds, and this is like one arena next question mark, and then like you can do like random events that were kind of scripted.
I don't know.
I mean, that
That
would
stuff's
just
usually better now than
overcomplicate it.
tons.
Yeah.
Because they wait for like prime time to do it when it's gonna be the most fun.
I don't like Wave 7 maps, honestly.
Those are shitty, and they're always purposely H-sided. Because they're farm
I mean, I would
maps.
prefer that Wave 7 just be like an admin only thing, like how Wetmore does it.
Playable
other than the fact that, like,
G's. Well,
Wetmore just does infinite wave.
I entertained that idea by making G's work similar to Left 4 Dead Tank, where if you're not doing anything useful, you lose control of it. I don't think it's out of the question, and we do have playable G's in melee mode, so it's more real than ever, but it's not a priority. It would be interesting to do, though.
Okay, so the thing with the vote map, again, like hiding the votes, it's not going to happen. The vote map right now, I think, is designed in a way that doesn't matter. Or it shouldn't matter, at least. People are always going to sheep vote, so it doesn't matter. I think sheep voting is fine. Because at least people who vote sheeply or get the map they want.
Plus, if you have if you hide votes, a group of players who are in like voice chat can still.
Yo, they just scream it.
Yeah, we're not muting voice chat or anything. We're not doing all that.
Because I played on a server that muted voice chat, hid the vote maps were client side sorted, and if you were in a voice chat with someone else, you could still, sway the vote because chances are you and everyone else in that voice chat have 500 vote power, and you basically get any map you want.
That's always gonna happen, though. That's just bound to happen. You can't fix that.
People just get the map they vote for. That's how it is now, and it's fine, I think. Most people don't really care what map they play. Unless it's this map, Rust and Dust, I think. It's another one that people hate a lot. No, it's this style of map where it's like, if it's above a pit of death, people will probably just not like it. And it's like small.
Busy spawn sucks too.
I forgot to do that this year, Halloween. I'm so sorry.
Hey, you actually have a map like that, Pooflet. Or you have made a map like that, Ambush. It's above a pit of death, and it's really small.
Yeah, I like making
that style of map.
And Wurzel too.
Pooflet is the best yes mapper.
Okay, when we were talking about maps earlier, I jokingly wanted to bring up Wurzel to Scott because I know people really miss the trains.
Didn't the zombies spawn the trains?
Yeah.
The very original Wurzel they did.
It should detect
the
ZM version?
Zombies could ride the trains and they were removed because everyone kept dying on wave 1.
It should detect.
Wait, you're talking about the ZM version or like the first version that Pooflet
It's
made?
not a ZM version. It was
It's
always
not
a ZS map. It was just for some random ZS server.
It was I remade
I've played it. It's Stolen's trash. Oh my god, my voice.
Didn't you make it for like a contest? I think it was.
Yeah, I made it for the remake contest. I loved Wurzel and I wanted to bring it back. And it is a shame that the trains had to get disabled because Warzone
Yeah,
was
they
one of
were
the
really
hardest maps to win because everyone kept dying. But it's a shame because that was the staple of that map, those trains. So I do miss it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
can't
better
you just
rewards for
can't you really add them like cosmetic for like cosmetic and they don't kill anyone?
Because wait, you just phase through humans?
Yeah.
No.
So
You
it has
need
the
them to
different
be able to kill people because zombies have to ride the trains.
Okay, so you want the trains to kill everyone, so it adds to the
Yeah.
charm of the map.
I want people to
Yeah,
ride the
really.
trains, but I don't know what Scott's feeling about the trains.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
just
No
no.
trains.
You know.
Sorry.
It's the same thing where like the on-it cars, even though they're kind of like they knock you up again. People just
Yeah.
like it's like I don't know what it is. People just go to map hazards like flies to a zapper. They just want to kill themselves on the hazards in the map and then ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. They probably
Maybe it's just
don't even
funny.
know.
Have you seen the diner map hazard it used to have?
Hey, Warsaw has plenty of good spots, but I have a very different definition of map design compared to majority.
No, it's
Because
not even the loot, honestly. It's just people want to die at the start because it's funny. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's just
Yeah.
funny to group die.
Yeah, to get hit by a train.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like, oh my god, I just got hit by a train. I'm laughing my ass off. Are we not? We're not bringing people up this time. I thought we did it like
No.
pre stage.
No, I figured it would be better for everyone if they just had to submit questions or just go lightning round because having
I'll
people
bring
on
Guts up
stage.
to the stage if he's here, but otherwise, it has to be Guts and Monkey.
Guts
Yeah,
Otherwise,
no
I'm not
name
bringing
matters.
everyone up.
That is
No, I don't
very
think Guts is
specific.
here.
Where is Monkey Andrew?
No, not Monkey Andrew. Monkey.
Oh, a
Monkey.
monkey.
They
Sorry,
need to have
sorry.
their
Wrong monkey.
bash together.
If
Please
they're not
don't
here,
bring
I'm not
Monkey
doing
Andrew.
it.
Like awesome dude.
Would it
Awesome
be
dude.
possible to have a votable melee mode map? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Actually,
think it's
I
I
never
don't
thought
think
about
so.
that.
come up.
No.
Okay, no.
Either way,
It should just be.
it'd require a rewrite of the map system, which
I know Wasa wanted to like have something where you can like flick on an option to like have stuff like Chaos ZS. I mean, that could have been like something like that, like on your client, but then it would probably create a lot of balance issues. Like if you wanted to play in melee mode or something.
Excuse me.
Let's see. 5 minutes left for everyone to get in the cinema server and get your rewards.
Do we get the
Holy
sex
shit.
update?
No.
I forgot Eclipse ZS used to be a thing.
Wait, that this wasn't the channel of where we would discuss Eclipsy or Ellipsy, whatever his name is.
I think it was a project that Forrest was working on, and then he abandoned it. Like,
That was Toy.
no, Tori was working on literally a server called Server Side.
Oh yeah.
Like,
There was
Side
the
server.
Tory one, there was the Forest one, there was
Yeah, Forest one is
there's
Eclipse.
Light, there's Rivettold.
There's so
CS
many, bro.
chaos.
There's so many.
There is a one that Wasa had a while ago. There was also
Okay.
another one Wasa had, Chaos ZS.
I think for that one, I think it's just built within CS. It just had you have
now
to
it's
type.
built into ZS. It used to not be.
Yeah, you have to type in a command, a recon command.
It was even before Mantle. Is Mantle being worked on?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
What, remantled?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't
Yeah,
Magic
yes,
do a playtest
Yeah,
not
it
too
was
long
like
ago?
2
Yeah.
weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
it's still
actively
worked
being
on.
worked on.
When Master releases, instant 180 pop. When light releases, instant 20 pop. I'm telling you.
Are Tickle minions fixed yet? Is there a bug with tickle minions? I don't know.
They're no collide.
Well, they're tiny, so
They just
why,
walk through
probably.
everything.
Can we get mega weapons removed from lockbox control points on main? They should be disabled.
They're not. You can earn them, but they don't get progress.
Wow.
Wait, what?
That was
Kind
up
of
for
I
Frey
mean,
to
I
change
think
at
I
some
might
point.
know why.
I think Frey
What the fuck?
didn't do anything with them
I
yet.
mean, okay. So Rayox did add like a blacklist thing for mega weapons,
Mhm.
but like, I don't fucking know what happened afterwards because like there was that, but then someone I think like commented it out. I'm not sure about
Oh,
that.
just bring it
I
back
had to
then.
check. I had the printer on me.
I think it was Wasa that commented it out, but not exactly sure.
Let me
The
see
Pega moment.
something.
But yeah, they should be disabled. They are not like offering any sort of utility.
Is it something like
They're
this?
just weaker because they're supposed to give mega progress, but they don't. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Is it something like
speaking about the
this?
Sunrust wiki, we kind of have to bring up the wiki eventually because the help menu still links to the wiki. So
Oh
if you go
yeah.
to, so if you go to help in ZS, it's just 404s. So
Wait,
you
so
might,
the filter
Where are the
is
files for it?
I think it's containerized in a Docker container, so
Okay.
we'll have to ask Extreme. Pretty sure
I
it's
know we
all.
lost the form files.
I'm pretty sure it's in its own folder, like Media Wiki or something. But I think that's an extreme question. All right, reward time.
Yes.
Let me check the filter.
More time.
Where is it? The hell? I just have it.
There you go. Everyone's received their reward. So thank you to everyone that's attended our winter Q&A chat. We hope that you've all found it helpful. And the next Q&A will probably be next year, to be honest. So we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Because I don't think you'll be hearing from us until 2024. So thank you, everyone.
Thank
Right
you,
out.
everyone.
That will have another one in the next 20 days.
I think our next one will probably be like the the Valentine's Q&A, maybe even
Probably around
maybe,
that time.
maybe even
Maybe.
the Easter Q&A,
Yeah, maybe.
April Fool's Q&A.
I mean, what we usually do maybe.
So I was people remember when he did the shade my toast his like meme comment a year ago or like early this year?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
Rika
remember
actually
writing
added
it,
it.
but I
Rika added
remember.
it to Tickle Monster, so it actually was
Yeah,
real.
He did, yeah. Finally happened.
It's actually real.
All right, so thank you all for attending. See you next time.